Hi, I'm Andrew, and I'm an only child. A lot of my friends who have brothers and sisters are jealous of me because they assume that I must get a lot of attention from my parents. I mean, yeah, okay, I do from my mum, but that can be a bit embarrassing because she still tries to hold my hand when we cross the road. And I'm like, hello, mum, I'm 14. My dad is a whole different story altogether. He works really hard, so I don't see him that much. But when I do, he's pretty much telling me off the whole time. And it sucks because I'm a good kid and I want him to like me, you know? My best friend Billy has his little brother and his dad, and they hang out all the time and go to soccer games together. And his dad is always saying how proud he is of Billy and what a great son he has, whereas my dad just constantly tells me I need to be better. I need to practice soccer more and study more, or how will I ever get into a good college? I feel like my dad thinks I'm a loser, that I'm not as cool as him or as smart as him, and I'll never be as handsome as him, and that's all I want. I want to be like my dad, but if I ever have kids, I won't treat them the way my dad treats me. I'll actually tell them how great they are. Anyway, one weekend, my dad was actually off work, so he arranged for us to go over to Billy's and watch the soccer together. We got there a bit early, so I went up to Billy's room to play PlayStation, with him and his brother. On my way to the bathroom, I heard my dad and Billy's dad laughing and chatting away. When I heard my name, my ears pricked up. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My dad was actually bragging about me, telling Billy's dad how proud he is of me for always getting the top grades, and that he just knows I'm going to go on and do great things with my life. I couldn't stop smiling when I got back to Billy's room, but I also felt a bit confused. How come he never said stuff like that to me? He made me feel like a loser. During the soccer game, my dad just made a few remarks about how I should watch closely so I could play as well as them. That quickly wiped the smile off my face. There he was, back to picking on me. On the drive home, I decided to just confront him. I told him that I'd overheard him saying nice things about me, and why did he never say that stuff to my face? Why does he always tell me I'm a failure, and why doesn't he like me and praise me? My dad looked so hurt, and pulled over and parked the car. He looked at me and said none of that is true, and that he doesn't see me as a failure. He just wants me to be constantly trying harder and pushing myself, because that's what his dad had done to him. He then started talking about tough love and saying it would build character, and how his dad always said that mollycoddling him wouldn't turn him into a great man. As my dad was saying this, he suddenly started crying. I've never seen my dad cry. He put his hand on my shoulder and said sorry. He said the reason he's been so hard on me is because that's what he experienced, and he didn't know any other way to raise a child. He thought that if he praised me all the time, I'd stop trying, and then I'd become too confident. But he hadn't ever thought that maybe it could have gone the other way, and made me less confident. So much so that I started questioning whether he even liked me. He kept crying, saying how embarrassed he was, and that he felt like such a terrible dad, and hadn't even realised he was acting just like his own dad. The more he talked about it, the more he realised he'd felt the same when he was young. And even now, he sometimes wished his dad would just say he was proud of him. Right there in the car, my dad reached out and gave me a big hug, and for the first time told me to face how proud he was of me. As we were hugging, I said, "So, you don't think I'm a loser then?" He laughed and ruffled my hair and said, "Oh, come on, son." And he started driving, and I quickly realised where we were headed. We pulled up outside my grandpa's house and headed towards the door. My dad turned to me and said he wished he'd been brave enough to do this when he was a young boy. But better late than never, right? And then he said that I was not only brave and smart, but I was also an inspiration. And then he asked me to wish him luck, and in he went. I watched through the window as they hugged, and then Dad came to get me and whispered in my ear, "Thank you." We all sat down to watch the next soccer game, and this time my dad didn't tell me to watch closely or comment on how I could be a better player. He just winked at me and said, "I love you, son." What do you think of this story? Please feel free to share your comments and stories in the comments section below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.